Hey Beauts, welcome to day 5 of 31 Days of Halloween here on Pretty Scary, the channel where I bring you budget friendly, easy to follow tutorials that you can do at home. And today we have the Silent Hill Nurse, an iconic character. This tutorial will be in 2 parts. This first part is showing you how to make this delightful mask. So if you'd like to know how to do that, then please keep watching. You will need a cheap plastic mask, some liquid latex, some scissors, a pot and some cotton buds, some glue, some cotton wool, some muslin, an eyeliner or lip liner and a hairdryer. Now, taking down a watered down solution of the PVA glue, you want to paint this all over the mask and then lay some muslin over the top, leaving enough excess around the back and sides that it can wrap around your head. Dry this glue off, you'll see why we're doing this later on. And then you want to cut out the nostrils and also draw out and cut out a large mouth hole. And then I decided to actually cut out the entire nose portion rather than just the nostrils so that I could breathe a little easier. Now you want to draw where the eyes are, so you know to avoid building up the latex and cotton wool over these areas, and the same with the nose too. And what you want to do is just start building up your design with good old latex and cotton wool. So I'm just roughing out where I want my design with some strips of cotton wool and then sticking them down to the mask with latex. Now, if you look at reference photographs of the Silent Hill nurses, you will notice that every single one is different. So you can pick whichever one's your favourite, or you can design your own if you're feeling creative. So really the world is your oyster. You do not have to do exactly the same design as I'm doing, but if you want to, you can do, of course. I just decided to kind of do a mixture of a few that I'd seen and kind of design my own. Make it my own, as Louis Walsh would say. So what you want to do is, once you've got those cotton strips laid down with the latex, adhering them to the mask, you just build up the latex on top of those cotton strips and mould them into the shapes that you want. Very similar to how we do it on our face when we use this technique. Just use my spatula there to help to sculpt those pieces. I decided I wanted to do a creepy sort of cage-like structure over the eye. A, because it allowed me to see, but B, because it looks really creepy with all these little holes. Anybody with trypophobia, I do apologise. But you can do whatever you want over this one eye. The other eye is completely left free. This one, the vision is a little compromised, but you can still see through that cage area. You can just leave it free, the same as I have with the other, and incorporate that into your design. And then on the forehead, I decided I wanted a little bit of a different texture, so I went in with some strips of toilet tissue and latex, just to create a little bit of interest there. And then just finished off with the latex and cotton wool over the rest of it. Then you just need to dry the latex and cotton wool. You can either leave it to dry overnight or dry it with a hairdryer if you want to speed things up. I then just stuck a little bit of pre-dyed muslin over the mouth area just to cover over the sharp edges of the plastic. I dyed the muslin with some tea and coffee just to give it a nice aged effect. Incidentally, you'll want to do that with the muslin going over the mask, which will go around the back of your head as well. I've done that here. I did it after I built up the latex and cotton wool, but it's actually better to pre-dye it but I just kind of forgot to do that. So as always on this channel, I'm making the mistake so you don't have to. Right, now onto the colouring. I'm using alcohol-based paints, but you can use water-based face paints, water-based acrylic paints, or grease paints, whatever you happen to have. I'm first of all mixing up a really sort of nasty nicotine yellow kind of colour with a little bit of black, and just putting a wash over the entire face. I'm then switching to a black and a brown water-based face paint, just so I can show you how you can use different types of materials and it all works. And I'm basically using these to define the deeper shadow areas, so the eye area. This is covered in muslin, but it is left free of latex and cotton wool, so you'll be able to see. I do later on decide to cut this out, just so that I can see a little bit better, because my sight was just a little bit too compromised. Anyway, going into all those grooves and details with that darker shade, just to really bring those forward and define them, including that nice creepy cage area around the eye. You can really see that coming into shape now. As you will see here, I'm using one brush to apply the colour, and then I'm blending it with a clean brush, and I'm just building it up and up and up until I get the depth I like. I did go in with some black just on its own to get the really deep shadows, and then I went over with some white water-based face paint just to lighten up the whole look and provide a little bit of highlight. This just really brings together the whole look and makes those deeper areas look even more defined. I then decided I made it look a little bit too white and clean, so I went back over with a yellowy toned colour, which I mixed up with the water-based face paints again. And then just applied some very small areas of highlight, again with the water-based face paint. This way you want to assess your mask and just see if there's any finishing touches you need to add, any little areas of shadow you want to bring back in, or any other colours or tones you want to bring onto the mask. Use those reference pictures of the Silent Hill nurses, you'll find plenty of those on Google. And I decided I wanted to have a little bit of blood on there as well, so I use an alcohol-based paint, but you can just as easily use a water-based face paint also, or lipstick, or whatever you happen to have. So I just splattered a little bit around the mouth and up the one side of the mask. I didn't want it all over, I just wanted it in select areas. Something else I also just did just to finish this off, but I didn't actually film it, was I applied a layer of PVA glue all over the entire mask to give it a nice shine and to seal all those colours in. And then we are done. I hope you enjoyed the first part of this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please join me tomorrow for the application process, where you'll see how to turn yourself into this horrible, grotesque nurse. And thank you for watching. Love you all. Don't forget to subscribe.